back to another episode of the Paint Your Future podcast. Now, today, we do have a very special guest. I'm going to jump right into things. I know he's going to be coming on pretty shortly, but we are going to be speaking with Mr. Spencer Tran himself. So, this guy is super special. Met him just about, I would say, 2 years ago. And he just turned 21 years old, but he year. So I'm excited to hear what he's got to say, how he's doing it, what's going on with it. Oh, look, Spencer got some fans in the chat already. Fans, friends, family. What's going on, Ellie? What's going on? And yeah, I'm really excited because this is the Paint Your Future podcast, and this is where dreams paint your future. So if you have a dream of, having a new career, having some time freedom, if you have a dream of potentially making over $200,000, almost $300,000, if you have a dream of being able to fund everything that you've been looking to do, definitely, stay tuned. And we're going to have Spencer Tran jump on in a short second. I see Kiahi's in the building. Shout out Kiahi. We got Isabel. Shout out Isabel. Ellie as well. Shouts out. Let me see if I can get Spencer in here. Now, today, of course, yes, we're going to talk about time freedom. We're going to talk about skills that actually will, pay the bills, skills that'll grow and really provide a foundation for you. But we got the man, the myth, the legend. What up, bro? I'm good.
Hey,
I'm good.
I'm good. How are you?
You just getting off of work right now, or what you up to?
Nah, I've been going around all day today, just having fun. But
Nice.
excited
Nice.
to go live.
Yeah, I know this discussion is long overdue. We were talking about it, like 6 months ago, maybe, when you first started, making waves and bringing different people on. Cool. So
Yeah.
I did like
for
a brief intro for you, but I want you to introduce yourself. For those people that are tuning in, maybe this is the first time that they get to see you speak in public. I know you stay low key a lot of the times, but what do you want the people to know about you?
I'm just a regular 21-year-old kid, just trying to figure out, my way in the world. Obviously, I have been in insurance now for a little bit over 2 years, but yeah, there's nothing special or unique about me. I do what I'm taught, and I execute, and that's it. That's all. That's where my results came from. But yeah,
amazing, man, amazing. So something I got to ask you, the first question of every guest that I have on is, how do you paint your future?
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to answer that question. So when we're talking about future, we're talking about something that's, it can be like a year from now or 10 years, 20, 30 years from now. But for me personally, the future in this case, for me, means having the ability to dictate my own future. Having time and money freedom, doing the things I love doing without having someone to tell me what to do. That's very, very important for me. Having the ability to control and have the autonomy.
Okay, that's amazing, man. And I know you've been killing it doing it with insurance, but I want to go back before you started. What was like the first thing, or maybe the first time you heard of even selling insurance or getting into this industry? What was that first spark for you? What made you join?
For sure. I didn't even know insurance existed until before I joined this company. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea how to sell. None of that. The only reason why I was able to do this was because I saw an ad that someone was, that was hiring, and I took the chance to learn, got licensed, and eventually built my own agency. So that's kind of the process and the journey for me.
Amazing. And then you came in through Kiahi. So how did y'all meet?
Literally through Indeed. Like one morning I applied for it, and he invited me to an interview, and I almost missed the interview. Funny story. But we talked, and then I went into the office to meet him. I started taking classes to get licensed, and then after I got licensed, he started teaching me. Man. And the rest is history.
You're going crazy with it, man. I think last year, so you sold over $400,000.
Yeah, over $400,000. Now, I'm gonna correct you though, because not all of it went placed. Meaning not all 400,000. I'll be a beast if I was, but I think I'm gonna end I ended 2022 at 325,000 in paid business. So I mean, for me personally, that's a huge milestone. I never thought coming into the year I would
Man,
ever hit
before
that, but
you could even drink.
here we are.
So
Before
it
I could even
takes a
drink,
special type
correct?
of person. Like some people, they're in this industry for a year, 5 years, 10 years. They never hit 300,000, let alone 325. You know, so what do you think it is that was inside of you that was able to create this type of trajectory, this type of momentum to even do those numbers? Because it can't just be, you know, it can't just be a normal thing, or else everybody would do it.
For sure. I mean, for me, one of the biggest things I believe in is commitment and actually commit to something. Um, I see that a lot of people talk and everyone can talk a really good game, but when it comes down to it, not a lot of people can actually stick through it and actually execute. So for me, commitment is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I try to do what I say I was going to do, and putting in the work day in, day out, week in, week out. Those little things, they add up, and that's how I did over
And then you say
300,000
commitment. And
in
so,
one
like,
year.
for people who don't know about insurance, or maybe they've never worked remote or over the phone, they've never been their own boss. What were the things that mostly pull people away from doing these type of, you know, doing these type of things? Anything that you had to overcome or any adversity that you had to break through?
Sure, absolutely. So, I mean, the hardest barrier for most people joining this business is the
Mm,
fact that it's commission only. So you don't really get a base pay or a base wage, which is scary to 99% of people. But I mean, it was scary for me when I started. I wanted to make money, but I had no way of
mm.
knowing that I would actually make money or not. So that's probably the hardest thing for people. But you know, once you start working and you start knowing what to do, it starts getting really easy
Yeah.
to generate the
And I
income
mean,
you want to make
commission
here.
only, obviously not everybody does it because there's no foundation. There's those voices in your head, right? If you have a bad month, or maybe you miss, changes their mind when they want to get something from you. So how do you keep yourself and your, just basically, how do you keep your mindset up in those moments?
Sure. I mean, I don't really have those moments where I'm like, gosh, I'm not getting paid. Like, I can't do this. For me, it's just if I want to get paid, then I have to provide the value to the clients I talk to, and I have to do the actual work. So I hate having an entitled mindset where I'm entitled to a paycheck. If I want something, I gotta go get it, right? So
Yeah.
for me,
And
that's
mentioning
just kind of my
mindset, like
mindset.
how did you build up that mindset that you're talking about to get through adversity? I mean, you say it kind of, you know, nonchalant, but for people that may not have that mindset, or they may not, you know, have that grit that you have, what helped you build that up? Is it podcasts? Is it books?
I mean, for me, I didn't come from a wealthy family. I'm not handed everything, you know. So I had to work for things, and for me, growing up, that's just kind of the way I was raised. So for me, I I started working hard since I was a kid, and it's
Mm.
been this like a way of life for me. And I joined the military too when I was 17, before I even joined the industry. So it really helped strengthening my mindset and
Okay. And when you
keep me really
joined the
grounded.
military, you took time off from insurance, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I did. Actually, I joined the industry for 3 months and I had to leave for the military
Wow.
for almost half a year and came back and
Right. And
I
was there like a
started again.
transitional period, or what was that coming back to insurance like, you know, with all commission, no momentum? Was that difficult for you?
Absolutely, it was. I mean, I would say the first 3 months when I came back, those were probably the hardest 3 months for me ever because I had to transition from being in the military back to being a civilian, and it's it's a difficult transition for me and for a lot of veterans out there as well. But I mean, those 3 months really helped set up the next, however long I'm going to be in this
And what
industry
were
for because it
like,
taught me
let's
a lot of
say, because
things.
there's some new people, I see them on the chat right now. If you guys are new into insurance and you're watching this and maybe thinking like, hey, I want to do 300,000, go ahead and put a fireball in the chat or put a one in the chat, because I want to see who's going to really take something out from this. So those lessons, you know, the mindset, the grit, what are two things that you can tell somebody that's brand new now that they can pull from this interview and that they can use for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, for me, two things. Commitment is a huge thing. Like if you say you're going to do it, and if you want to do it, you better come up with a plan and find a way how to execute it. Because I hate when someone say, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to hit this kind of production, I want to make this kind of money. And when it comes time to actually do it, they chicken out. They
Right.
don't actually put in the work. So actually, have integrity and do what you say you're going to do. The second thing is just being disciplined. Some days are going to be really, really hard, and you just got to figure out a way to overcome that. Some days they're going to beat you down so bad that you just want to like go to sleep and not wake up. But just kidding. But for me, just figuring out a way, telling myself that this is a rough patch and it happens and there's no way I can avoid it, so I might as well learn something from it, take something from it, and
Yeah. And
move
and
on
what
to the
I
very next
love,
day.
man, is that the way that you say, even the way that you talk about it, it's not so much adversity. Like a lot of times people they characterize these issues, they characterize these troubles, and then they have so much detail in what the problem is. And I feel like that's what I'm used to, even on this podcast right now. Like I'm used to people going into detail of their problems and their issues, but for you, it's kind of like, oh yeah, it was just part of the journey. I had to get over it. You know, you simplify it a lot. Do you think that's something that's kind of helped you push forward, just simplifying things and not putting too much emotions into it?
Absolutely, because some days you're gonna talk to people who are rude, people who don't know that you're trying to help them, and it's gonna be that way every single day. If you let it hurt you, then you're not gonna last long in this industry. You just gotta put emotions aside, focus on your job, which is helping clients, finding the coverage they need, and move on. I mean, people who are rude to you, they curse you out. It doesn't really matter. They're
Right.
not the people that you want to help anyways. So just move on from it and
Yeah,
help
no, for
help those you
sure.
can.
And then I mean, you've done most of this work just virtually. Do you see people in person or not anymore?
Very, very rarely do I ever go out to meet a client in person anymore. Back in the day, before COVID and
Mm.
everything, yes, but now it's probably 99% of the time I do it over the phone or just doing it on Zooms. I
Yeah, no, that's
rarely ever
amazing.
go to meet a client
And
anymore.
I mean, I'm sure that helps with your time management. You don't have to pay for gas or anything. You don't even have to dress up. You can just do it straight from your home, straight from the phone. Now, I want to understand kind of, more of what you go through. I see that we have some people outside of just symmetry that's in the chat. For the ones who are learning from you, for the ones who are actually getting some value from this, I wanted to bring up what you do with referrals. Could you walk me through those steps that you do to kind of get referrals? I know you have a certain system, if that's okay. I know if that's a secret, it's all good, but that referral system,
No,
yeah,
I'm happy to share. So for me, generating referrals for me is showing my clients that I appreciate their business, and I explain to them what kind of services I also offer, and I give them free resources that the parent company Quality offers, like Quality RX or My Quality, those kind of free stuff. And the more I add value to them, the more they're gonna appreciate what I do for them, and the more people that they're gonna refer me to. So I send out letters to my clients, telling them that I appreciate them letting me help them out, and send a bunch of letters. And clients
right.
eventually they
And these
get
are
that and they
actual
call me
physical
back.
letters. So I mean, in a regular month, how many letters are you mailing out?
Probably close to 30 to 40 letters pretty consistently every month. And at first, it's not going to work that well because you just send out your first batch of letters. But the more consistent you are, the more you do it,
Nice. And I mean, out
the better
of
that
that,
works.
because this is now what, your third year or second year? Okay. So out of
It's my
that,
second
going from
year.
year one, getting all fresh, brand new clients to now year two, you actually have some business you could follow up on. You're sending about 30, 40 letters a month. You're asking for referrals and obviously doing everything over the phone. How much of your business came from referrals if you had to like put a number or percentage on it?
I would say around 20 to 25% of my business actually comes from referrals. So it's obviously that's a huge part of my
Yeah.
business, and I take it very seriously. But I mean, just by being appreciative of the people that I was able to help, I mean, that's what got me here today. I would never have made it over 300K in a year without
Yeah,
the
I mean, even
referrals that
at
my clients
20%,
gave
like
me.
25%, that's almost like 70, $80,000 of business. So that's nothing to wink at, that's wild. And, now that you have these results, you've been able to help a lot of clients, what does that look like for future for Tran Advisory, for your agency, right? How does that translate to your leadership and what you're doing with other people?
For me, I mean, doing those referral letters actually teaches me a lot. Um, what one thing it really teaches me is being appreciative of the people around you. So, I mean, I apply it to my own agency where, if one of my agents asks me for help, or, if they make a sale or they make a mistake, I don't, I'm not harsh on them. I coach them on what to do. And if they did something great, then I congratulate them and tell them
Right.
how to do it again, right? So I I use that in every area of life,
Yeah.
and it's been
And I
working well
mean,
for me so
with
far.
with all this work and all these people that you're kind of leading, I kind of want to talk about your team a little bit. Is that okay? So I know you
Sure,
got a few different team
absolutely.
members, but what would you say is like one or two people that are really standing out? What do you think is working for them? Because obviously you have your system, but you've been able to see other people and bring them to success too. So from the team that you have, what are one or two things that's working for them, and why do you think that is?
Sure. So one of my agents, Maduri, she's from Massachusetts. She's been killing it. She's been in the business her first year, and she submitted over 200,000 in her first year,
Amazing.
which is amazing, impressive. And one thing I noticed she does really well is that she's also very, very consistent. Um, every single week that she's in production, she puts up numbers, and she never fails to submit her applications, do the basics, do the fundamentals. So, I mean, really, it goes to show consistency is a really big trait in
Yeah.
every successful person
No,
in
I
any
mean,
kind
you
of
said she
industry.
did how much in her first year?
She submitted over $200,000 of business, and that translated to around $140,000 of actually placed
Amazing.
business in her very first
Man, and
year.
you're teaching her this stuff. You're only 20. This is only your second year, so that's something that's really good. I think if you guys are listening to this and you're like, "Hey, I want to be able to, place over 300,000. I want to be able to have somebody teach someone how to submit over 200,000." Definitely, Spencer, you'd be a great person for that. Now we got a question in the chat. Do you do insurance full time? And I know obviously, it's commission, right? So full time's really questionable. But what does the actual week in your shoes look like? Because I know it's not about the hours, it's about the efficiency. So what would a week look like?
Sure. I mean, I do this full time, just to answer your question, whoever's in the chat. For me, my typical week consists of having around, at the very least, 20 to 30 appointments of me actually talking to my clients. That gets me enough production to sustain the growth of my team. And I also do a lot of interviews where I actively recruit and hire people to grow my agency. That takes a pretty big part of my week as well. But recently, I've been focusing on social media a lot, growing my presence on Instagram, letting people know what I do, what I offer, and what I have to teach. So just for me, typical week, just running appointments, running interviews, building my team, coaching my team, and yeah, just keep
And
growing
most
my
of your
business, just
business
keep adding
is
value
coming
to
from
it.
leads. So I mean, do you just use the leads that Quality offers, or what type of ways do you create and generate leads for your business?
Sure. Absolutely. So, I mean, yeah, I would say 80% of my business, besides the referrals, come from the leads that I purchase from Quality. So obviously they work. They're great leads, and by just utilizing something that is available to me, I'm able to generate the business that
Okay, no,
I
that's
have been able
amazing.
to.
Now, for those of us that aren't in Quality, or maybe they don't know too much about insurance, I see we have some people on right now. They're just entrepreneurs in the first place. So I want you to kind of break down. It doesn't have to be too specific, but just the investment that you make towards your business and what that usually looks like month over month. Could you give us kind of like a story or like a breakdown of what that would look like?
Yeah, I mean, my overhead for this business is not a lot, but I'm very profitable. Every month I probably spend around close to $2,000, $2,500 on leads, and around $1,500 towards recruiting and building my business. So all in all, around 4,000 plus some minor expenses, but that's my overhead, and I'm able to generate a lot more income from the money
Okay,
that I invested into this
amazing. So
business.
basically, about what 2 to 3 thousand a month will get you to that 200 plus range per year.
Absolutely, and the more money that you invest in it, and if you have time, obviously you're going to be able to generate much more
Yeah.
than
And
just
I
your
mean,
two
you had to
thousand
overcome a
dollars.
lot of things because at like 18, 19, 20, as you were growing up in the business, which is pretty crazy to think of, I'm sure you had to forego any parties, younger people things. What do you say to the young people that, they may not even be 20, they may not even be 21, but they come in and then they say, I don't have money to invest into my business yet. That's why I got this job. What do you say?
Yeah, for me, it's probably the saddest excuse ever, because there's a lot of ways to make money in the modern world. I mean, you can literally there's an app that allows you to deliver food to make money, or
Mm,
to buy someone groceries and make money. There's literally no excuse for you to say that, like, you have to have a certain job to keep up with your bills. That's, for me, that's kind of BS. Um, and just try your best to save up as much as you can, and once you've built up a nest egg, then use that money to leave your job and focus on this full time. I
That's
mean, there's really no
amazing.
excuses
And I
there.
like it's just, cut and dry. That's just how it is. So you've been able to inspire a lot of people. I see people in the chat, they're talking about, I want to be Spencer when I grow up. Shout out to Glee, who I see who's in here. Ellie again, my guy, One True Story, Jamin. There's a lot of folks that are out here and they believe in you. So if somebody's tuning into this and let's say they love your story, they want to support what you're doing, what would you say is the best way that they can support that, or kind of get in touch with what you got going on and what you got coming up?
Absolutely. I mean, one way they can support me is just, follow my content on Instagram. I try my best to put out daily content, teaching people about insurance, educating people about financial planning, and if this kind of career is something that they're looking for, I can also teach them to do it. So, follow my content, and that's all I ask, right?
Got
I don't
you.
ask for anything
Yeah, no,
else.
it sounds like you're pretty accessible. So if people want to reach out to you, they can get direct access from this would be the best actual Instagram to use. Perfect. So if you guys are watching
Absolutely, yeah.
at the top right here, you see the little arrow. You click on that and you can follow Spencer and his advisory group right now. If you're not following me, you can go ahead and follow him the same way. But Spencer, I know we had some time that we sat down. We talked exactly what you did in the past. Now I want to understand, what does your future look like? So as you paint your future, and let's just fast forward. You've been in the business for 2 years. You've already hit some huge landmarks. In another 2 years, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, yeah. So for me, my goal in the future is to be the person that creates leaders, that creates more leaders. For me, I enjoy production. I enjoy helping clients and all of that. But obviously, as my team grows bigger, I'm gonna have to take a step back, and coach the people, coming up, the people that I hire, for them to be leaders. So that way they can teach the people that they're gonna bring on. So for me, the next couple of years is just gonna be focusing on building my team, creating new leaders, and growing my team that way. It's just all about delegating and making sure that my agency has reliable
Yeah.
people
And
that
I
new
mean,
agents can count
leaders,
on.
it's a vague term. I think it's important, but for you and your group and what you're leading them to, what does the leader look like? What are those actions?
Sure. I mean, a leader, first of all, has to be a good producer. They have to know what they're doing, or else they can't teach people. Because if you don't know how to produce, how are you gonna
And what is
answer a question that a new agent have, right?
what is a good producer? Like, how
Go
much do
ahead.
they have to generate in business?
I mean, for me, I don't know about for other people, but a good producer for me has to be able to place, at the very least, $15,000 to $20,000 of business a month. That amount of production shows your consistency, and show that you're actually really committed.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to hit those milestones. So to be a good producer, you gotta hit those numbers.
Okay. And
And
then going back to
yeah,
the 2 year plan. So in 2 years, you're creating leaders. Like, how big is your team at this point?
well, for me, if I just do what I'm supposed to do and I keep up my consistency, in 2 years, I'm gonna have around, I would say, 50 to 60 agents on my team. I want to have at the very least 4 to 5 leaders
Okay.
in my team that I can really count upon. That's how my agency is going to grow
Nice. No,
and keep scaling
amazing.
itself.
Because something like one of the reasons why I even call this podcast the Paint Your Future podcast is because I believe that you have to paint your future in your mind first. And then from that, you can paint your future, whether it's on paper or with your words. That's the next thing, right? And then finally, once you do it 3 times, the fourth time is when your future actually happens in real life. So just like you're doing right now, you painted your future in your mind. That's where you said, how I'm going to have 50, 60 agents. I'm sure somewhere in your room or somewhere in your notes, you got it written down, right? You have that written down? Okay, perfect. And then from there, you
Absolutely.
got to speak it out. So this is one of the exercises to actually speak and get that future, to other people. Let them know so we can hold you accountable. But lastly, the fourth time is when it really happens. So that's what I'm excited to see, bro. You're 21. In 2 years, at 23, you're gonna have 50 different agents. So I mean, something like that. I think it's just remarkable, bro. You're doing amazing work. Now, I wanted to open it up. If anybody that's watching right now that they have questions, I'm gonna go back and see if there's other questions. But I think one of them was asking, are you still with the military, and do you do anything outside of insurance?
Yeah. I actually am still in the military. I'm in the National Guard. And for those that don't know, the National Guard is the
Mm,
reserve side of the Army, the military. So I go to drill one weekend every month for that. But yeah, I mean, in general, this is my main focus. I don't like to focus on other stuff. So I'm putting all my
it's
effort to this because I
amazing.
believe in
And then, don't you go to school too? I think I heard that you were in school.
it. Well, on and off. I mean, I don't go to school at the moment, but in the past I have taken classes while doing this. So um, part of it for me is that I've actually dropped classes to do this completely 200%, not just 100%. Focus my time,
Amazing.
all my energy and
So
soul
if
into
you had,
this.
and I mean, that's basically everything that we wanted to talk about, right? Like, how did you do it? Who are you working with? What is your goal for the future? So let's say if you had, 1 minute, let's say 1 to 2 minutes to leave whatever you want to say to the people who are listening or the people that watch this afterwards, something that I can actually put into a clip and put out there for after this interview. Go ahead and say whatever that is. I'll say like 2 minutes, whatever you think you want people to remember you by.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me personally, like I said again, I know I'm kind of just saying this a lot, but I want to be remembered as someone that is really focused and committed to my goals, right? I mean, if I set a goal, I'm gonna make sure I do whatever it takes to hit it, and I'm not gonna take any shortcuts. I'm gonna do the work that's required, no matter how difficult it is, and that's how I'm gonna accomplish my goals. I'm not entitled to anything. No, nothing is gonna be handed to me unless I work for it. So that is my mentality, and that's how I want people to
Amazing, man.
remember me
And
by.
then once again, where do they follow you at?
Tran Advisor Group. Just look it up. It's on Instagram. Just follow me, and then you'll
Yes,
see
sir.
content
Well, I
every single day.
appreciate you, Spencer. Thank you for taking the time. I know you got a lot of things going on, but appreciate you for, doing this video and working together on this. I see we got some family, some friends. Got 15 people right now, so that's amazing. And I look forward to seeing all of these dreams actually happen. And I'll make sure, in 2 years, if you don't got 50 agents, bro, we're going to talk. We're going to make sure it's happening.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, man. Well, I'm going to
Absolutely.
let you go. You have a good night. Thank you again. All right, y'all.
Here.
Big facts, big steps towards my future. Last time I talked with God, he told me you the one who has a spirit of courage to get you through it. Power never come without persecution. He gave you the vision, go execute it.